Definitely are.
Chocolate, the Grand Legion of chocolate.
Just chocolate. Just all chocolate.
Any chocolate. We are not discriminatory against chocolate here. Hi, and welcome to the 228th hour of Adventures Wanted.
Woo!
A bit crazy, but it's fine. Okay, just a couple of things before we get started. This performance, like all our performances, is a relaxed performance. What that means for you is that the lighting state should stay the same throughout the whole show. It did for the last hour, but the hotel lights do have a habit of going off on us. If that happens, these two lights will stay on, and I will fix it as quickly as possible. We're also not expecting any sudden loud noises, but there will be music for atmospheric purposes. And we have a relaxed attitude towards sound and movement from our audience for the benefit of those who are unable to sit still or be silent for a full hour. On that note, if you feel like at any point you need to take a break, just go out to the doors you came in by, and just to the right there's a seated area that you're welcome to use for a breather, get a drink of water, and you'll be welcome back in at any point during the hour. If you do decide to take that break, I'm Naomi, I'm the stage manager for today. If you need anything, I'm right over there. Give me a wave or come over, and if it's something I can help you with, I will. I also have hearing loop headsets available if that's something you need. Other than that, I'm going to pass over to Grace, who's our GM for today.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Adventures Wanted. Hello, both in the room and on the stream. Hello, stream. Excellent. So what are we doing here, guys? We are playing a tabletop role-playing game. What does that mean? It means that the four people to my left and right are playing characters in a magical universe, and I play the rest of the universe. The monsters they encounter, the allies that they fight, the sewers they find themselves in, which is literally what's about to happen. To make sure I don't abuse my awesome power, we use dice rolls to make sure that everything is completely and totally unfair. Everyone rolls dice to see if they achieve something that they want to try and do. Normally we use a 20-sided, which means that 20 is good and 1 is bad, although there are others that come in. We'll try and keep you up as we go through. We have over 225 hours of backstory. Trying to explain all of that in 30 seconds is nigh on impossible. However, I will try to attempt it. These four people to my left and right are crew members of the Spirit of the Horizon, a naval research vessel that was taken from its home plane when they read a spell on a mystical stone tablet. They had to read the spell on the mystical stone tablet to teleport away because they were being chased by an unspeakable evil god who came after them because they nicked his tablet. I think they may be at fault here. Never really discussed that. We'll do that maybe in the next hour. It's been 225 hours of gameplay. In game time, it's been about 2 months since that happened. In that time, the crew have dealt with a number of problems on this mystical world of Havmar, where they found themselves. Havmar is a world of archipelagos, oceans, ocean combat, ships sailing the high seas. However, at the moment, they're in a sewer. They are in a sewer that is below a floating magical city which floats in the sky. So they're underground in the sky. It's all right, very easy to follow. And they are currently in the middle of a battle with some rats. However, one of these rats appears to have been affected by the magic waste it has been living in for the past time, and apparently said magic waste has caused it to grow some horrific cysts.
Oh.
But we'll come back to that in a moment. Before we dive in too deep, from my left, please tell us your name, your character's name, and what you do on board ship.
I can't remember.
You can make it up as you go along. It does not matter.
I remember I was Dee Dee.
Dee Dee.
So my name's Dolly. My character name is Dee Dee.
Uh-huh.
I am a halfling.
Yep.
Remember that. I like to stab people in the face and generally cause a lot of mischief.
That's halflings for you.
We're going to be friends.
Yeah, we
She's
are.
also a rogue, everyone. A rogue. Reese.
Hello, my name is Reese, and I will be playing Galbert Twinkletoes, the halfling monk. Galbert, once upon a time, was the cleaner upon the Spirit of the Horizon, but now he is the quartermaster and is struggling with the loss of someone he considered a very close friend in Captain Golden.
Yeah, we're on captain number 3 so far. Captain number 3, that's how well this mission's gone. Not bad for 2 months if you're living in a bubble. I mean, it's not great.
But
Yeah.
it's not bad if you're not one of the previous captains.
That is also a very good point. Go ahead.
So my name's Bex, and I'm playing Devere Cook, the rogue cook. I specialise in potatoes. I've had a bit of a journey. Lost my lucky potato peeler. Lost my chef's hat.
Oh.
Still got my apron though. I'm currently covered in water.
They're in a sewer. It is definitely
Water. And I am dangling from a rope currently.
Yes, you are. We'll come to that in a second.
Not great.
Phil.
Hello everyone, I'm Phil, and I am playing as Conan the Barbarian.
Conan!
He specialises
Conan.
in bad puns and wears a traffic cone on his head. He's very good at stabbing things, but yeah, that's his preferred method of communication.
This is an 11th century traffic cone, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we established that. So it's a wooden traffic
Wooden
cone.
traffic.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to do think. He likes to think with his fists, and his way of saying hello is to stab people. That's basically
Very useful in the combat we find ourselves diving straight back into. So I'm going to set the scene for you all so you know what's going on. It's relatively complicated. Give me a second. As the two of you teleport into this moment, teleportation and magic that affects the ship is still affecting the crew, even 2 months after the event when they first cast this spell. As on the hour, every hour, 2 of the crew are replaced by 2 new crew members. It's almost like it's something that we had to orchestrate. Dee Dee, what were you doing before you were teleported into this moment?
Well, I was actually in one of the ventilation ducts about to play a practical joke on the second cook, because you are the actual cook, and I was playing a joke.
I'm just loving the idea of an 11th century frigate with ventilation ducts. That's awesome.
They've got wooden slats that you can move. You can actually move by fingertips, because obviously they wouldn't have any hydraulicness.
No, not at all.
But I can move by fingertips, and I was literally about to
I love
to
how much
shoot.
thought you put into
Well, literally, this is off the cuff. I was about to pea shoot a hallucinogenic to the chef, because I fancied something fresh for dinner.
Awesome, we'll come back to that. Conan!
I was having a shit.
Classy, classy, classy. Where were you in said process? Literally.
Were you grunting?
Literally
Oh,
grunting and
no.
straining away. Does Conan have a well-balanced diet, does he?
Yeah.
Roll a constitution saving throw?
The hallucinogenic issue at him.
If you start me off, I will complete.
I should have learned this. Last time I teleported, I said I was just waving my sword around, so I accidentally killed one of our guides that was helping us.
I know, he killed a prisoner just by waving his sword around.
Really unhelpful.
I have
that
a
prisoner
feature.
alive.
Let's have not so much talking over each other, please, otherwise people can't hear us.
I rolled a 7, do I add it to that?
Saving throw.
Saving throw.
So 16.
16. Oh, it's not too bad. It's still solid. Good. Suddenly, oh God, I just worked out where you're standing.
Oh no! I'm already covered in water.
Okay,
It'll be
good,
fine.
lovely. Conan, you appear squatting over a grate in the middle of about a 50-foot room. Make a perception check for me. So roll 20-sided dice and add your perception modifier to it.
Perception modifier, so +7, so that's 16 again.
16. You can't see brilliantly in the dark, being basically a human, but it's a dark room and there are lots of beady eyes looking out at you and the people around you.
Okay.
Yes. But you are still mid-squat.
Yes.
As you realise what's going on, what do you do?
As I realise what's going on, I abort mission.
Abort mission.
Stand up.
Okay.
Get ready.
You did say you were mid-flow, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I would probably finish it.
Go on. Finish
Well,
your
I'm in a
thought.
sewer, aren't I?
Yeah.
Let's drop the.
So you drop the package and then pull up and you're ready to go. Not even wiping. Charming,
Well,
Conan.
no, Conan's a simple fighter. He doesn't.
Sure.
worry
Tavia,
about
make a
height.
dexterity saving throw as you are currently hanging under this grate.
That is
20, isn't it?
21.
21. As you feel the
22.
teleportation magic above you, as you see it happen, you realise that I don't want to be here right now. Swing out the way, and something goes past you and hits the grinder beneath you and does not hit you anywhere. It, if anything, is all good. So that's where Davia is. That's where Conan is. Galbert, you're still exactly where you were. Nothing's changed for you. But behind you, the Lorno, the halfling knot master, has just tied a noose around the neck of a rat. It looks a bit weird, this rat, as we've been through, but we'll get to that in a second. You appear, as you were pea shooting away, the pea shooter's out of your hands, it's gone. You're suddenly holding a piece of rope that seems to be tied around the neck of a rat. Roll a perception check for me, please. DD.
Okay, so 4 plus your perception. So
5.
5. It's tied around a rat. The rat looks weird. We're going to come back to that. Good.
It looks weird.
It looks weird. It is also your turn, Dee Dee. So there's a weird rat on the end of this rope. What do you want to do?
Can I jump on its back whilst holding the noose and ride it?
It's currently about 20 feet away from you. You can do that.
far.
I'm going to be helpful here and say I would strongly advise you not to.
So can I?
'Cause you haven't
I
seen
feel
what's
I'm quite
turning up.
small. I don't know how big the rat is.
It's about the size, in your case, it's about the same size as you. So it is a big rat, but you're 3 foot tall, so.
I'm thinking I probably won't be able to hold it on my own
Sure.
because it's going to be as strong as me.
True.
Is there somewhere I can tie it off?
There's a grate beneath your feet.
I tie it to the grate.
Absolutely. Make a sleight of hand check.
roll your d20. That's good. And then add your sleight of hand modifier. Ah, okay. So you are proficient in this, which means you can use your reliable talent. So this is a 10.
Rules make the game
So
fun.
it's 10 plus 12 is 22.
So I've
You know
got
what's most
22.
fun about D&D?
What?
All the math.
I know, right?
All the
22.
math.
22. With the deftness of someone who spends their entire lives being good with knots in their hands, you tie a very quick bow. The rope is now held. This weird-looking rat is now held by this rope. You can still move if you'd like to. Would you like to move somewhere?
I feel like I want to go up. Can I go up anywhere?
You're currently in a domed room. It's very dark around you. You got a very low perception check, so it's very dark around you. You can't really see much. There's a grate beneath you, and there is some light coming from this rat that looks a bit weird. But there's not a lot of light in this room. You can't see up around you at all.
Okay, so I don't want the rat to see me.
Sure.
So I'm gonna move away from the centre because at the moment he can pivot around basically the
True.
centre of where I've tied him up.
Sure.
So I'm gonna want to sort of get out of the way because he's gonna come.
You can move 25 feet on your turn. You
So
could
I
move
will
more depending. I don't know.
25 feet, probably out at a
And an angle.
angle.
Sure.
So
You
that
run
I'm past
25
him.
feet out an angle. The rope's only 20 feet long, so you
I'm
are currently
just slightly past him,
him.
but closer to him.
It's not like it matters considering what he can do.
I
But
don't
still,
know.
no, how would you? You just arrived. It's a shame, really. Galbert, you are currently punching this rat in the face. You have now hit it a few times, and when you hit it last time, it's covered in cysts. And this cyst rat, as we're going to call it, these cysts appear to be glowing with magical energy because it lives in the sewers under a magical city. It appears to have absorbed a lot of magical waste. Galbert, last time you hit it, you did quite a lot of damage to it with your multiple hits, but every time you hit it, you did pop a cyst. And when you pop a cyst, awful things happen.
If I don't do this, I'm practically useless.
That is correct.
So I'm gonna do it again.
Splendid!
First strike.
How many
is
key
a-
points do you have left?
I have, starting this off at the round, I have 6.
6 key points. I thought it was low. What would you like to do? How many times are you hitting it?
Coming in first attack is a stunning strike, so I'm expending a key point to infuse
Absolutely.
my fist with my key energy.
Absolutely. What does that
Bring
look
it.
like?
Yeah, he takes a breath for a moment, and as he exhales, there's this glowing energy that emanates down his arms
Mm-hmm.
and focus in his knuckles.
So Iron Fist, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't want to say it. Yeah. I bring the fist down towards his head.
Okay, Iron Fist, make that attack.
20 to hit.
What was that?
20 to hit.
That absolutely hits. Roll for damage.
Can you make a constitution saving throw?
I already
please?
have, and it hasn't affected me.
Great. It's great. It's great. 15 bludgeoning damage.
You need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. 14.
As you launch out with your fist, as this key energy glows through you, try and stun the creature. You hit it with a certain kind of knuckle strike, I'm guessing, to try and stun the creature using its pressure points. As you do that, one of the cysts under your hands, which glows purpley black, pops in your hand, and you take... I'll roll for it for you if you like.
Do whatever you think is best.
I will roll for it for you. You take 11, 24, 12, 23. Ooh. 23 plus 19 is 42. Plus 6 is 48, and one more. Plus 10. You take 58 points of necrotic damage as this cyst entirely full of necrotic energy bursts and washes over your hand. You still have 2 more attacks. What would you like to do?
No, I don't. I'm out. I'm dead. If this is what I think it is, if it isn't, then I'm just unconscious.
Oh my. You're not unconscious. If the target is reduced to 0 hit points, it instantly dies.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Jump in!
Do you know what makes it worse? He wrote this monster.
Can I have your pretty turquoise dice then?
Looting
Oh,
the
man.
Oh.
I don't even know what
Guys,
happened
we're
when I feel
mid-game.
so
Something's
sad.
got to happen. Galbert punches this thing. Magical energy washes over him, and he just withers and dies instantly. It is literally that awful. Yeah, it's
I'm not
awful.
going to punch it in the face.
How much damage did the punch do? 15 points of damage. It still takes that damage, so you still get that as you go.
Thank you.
Right. Galbert is gone.
Crikey.
That quickly, that badly.
Oh no.
That's
gonna need you to
really
help
sad.
I'm still going to need you to help me.
Devere, it's your turn. Your friend has literally just died. What would you like to do?
Cool. Are there any rats by the edge of the grate round the hole that I'm sort of dangling?
There are
from?
currently two circling Dee Dee that look like they're going to attack her on their next turn.
Are they near enough to the hole that I can grab them without having to climb up the hole and use my action?
No, you'd have to climb out of the hole.
Okay.
You could try and coax them.
Well, it worked so well last time.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and coax
Bit of rat coat.
one of the rats that look like they're about to attack Dee Dee
Sure.
Thank you so much.
towards the hole.
Yeah.
Wait, let's wait and see if it works.
But thanks for your effort.
Yeah, yeah.
In advance.
How many hit points does Galbert have?
I was on 52 when you hit me.
Oh.
58.
So
17.
close.
That's
17
apple handling.
to coax them. All right, I'll roll against it. Absolutely. Let's confirm this.
That's a critical failure. Yeah.
Both of these rats hear you coaxing with a "come on." How'd you coax them?
I'm going like, come here, ratters, and I've got like a potato, and I'm waving it up the hole, like, ooh, look at the tasty potato.
We've established that rats don't like potatoes, but these two, seeing one, just suddenly go frenzied for it and start running towards the hole. They'll both make dex saving throws on their turn.
Cool.
Conan. Conan, your friend, literally just ran in to do some damage to this horrific thing and has died. You can tell that he is dead. How does Conan react to this?
Well, he's angered and he wants to kill things. The red mist comes down.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking if there's a. I think range attacks are good here because like I don't think punching it's going to be a good idea because the same thing's going to happen to me.
Sure.
If I.
That's cold.
That's cold.
That is cold. Oh, sorry if you're less able to see, our table come and took Galbert's sign off the table in a very brutal, he's done now kind of way.
Remind me how many rats there are. How many rats I can see?
There are two that are running towards a hole where she has coaxed them, and there is this one horrific one with all the cysts on it.
So they're coming towards you then. We're going to need to save you now.
No, it's fine. I'm down the hole.
Yeah.
They come towards me. and they're
She's
falling
currently
down the
hanging
hole.
in the grate.
I feel like you've handled the two rats and coaxed them to a hole.
Let's see.
Make an intelligence check. Conan's not the brightest penny in the jar, is he?
Oops.
Oh.
17
Plus 0.
plus 0.
17. Yes, even in Conan's brain, the "she has got rats to go in hole." That is wise.
So I think I need to focus on the big.
Correct, you do.
Don't I? So I'm gonna. Am I in light crossbow range?
Yes, you are. It is currently within about, what was it, about 20 feet of you, so you don't take disadvantage on this. You can just literally kneel down and start firing.
Let's just do that. Then.
Okay.
So, do I get any?
You get how many attacks do you have with fighters? Do you get 3?
You get 3.
You
With
get
a
3
crossbow,
attacks.
with a crossbow he
you
gets
get
2, so you have to
2.
reload it. So you get 2 attacks with your crossbow.
Or 3 attacks.
So,
Plus 11? 21?
21.
That hits. Roll the other attack as well, so we know how they both go.
18.
18. Both hit. Can you roll for damage while I see which cysts pop,
So
please?
1d8. That one.
Plus 6.
Yep.
Oh, gee, Lord.
Yep.
Having a good day.
So 2 combined. Combined total of 22.
22 points of damage. Excellent. You strike it with 2 crossbow bolts. It screeches out in pain as these 2 crossbow bolts slam into it. I need random dice. I need both of you to make saving throws as the cysts pop and these beams of energy just pour out of them. Can you both make dexterity saving throws, please?
That is
Yeah, so this-
Nat
So you
20.
roll your
Nat 20. Okay.
2. Add your dexterity saving
Get DDs in a
throws
second.
plus 9, which is 11. But because of your evasion ability, no matter what, it's halved.
Okay.
So she rolled an 11.
Unfortunately, she won't take damage from it. Right. Conan, the one that you pop, this beam washes over you. It's sort of greyish yellow, but you, being the strong, doughty man that you are, just glare down and just... What? Like, it's nothing to you. Dee Dee, you rolled an 11, I believe. Is that correct? Right. You suddenly feel as this wave of energy washes over you from the cyst that popped and washed over you. You are being affected by something that is slowing you down. You're not quite sure how it's slowing you down yet, but it is definitely... You feel like your limbs are starting to seize up. We'll come back to that in a minute.
I'll just cartwheel and make sure that I seize up like this so that I can
So, holding out so you can seize up in the right way.
Fine.
Excellent.
Just
Very
putting that
smart.
out
I
there.
approve of that.
So someone can at least roll.
Right. The two rats are going to make dexterity saving throws.
Sure.
Oh dear. 2 3s. The rats come bounding towards you, trying to attack you in the hole. One comes in, pushes its way through, and just snaps you, and falls down this hole into the trap beneath, which is a sort of grey. It's a metal grinder underneath here. It's clearly where some of the more solid water is turned into more liquid water. Ooh, it starts to grind. They both start to grind, and they have no way of getting out. So below you, there's just as these rats start to be slowly fed
Kill you. That's
fed
true. And you
through
saved
this
me.
horrific pastry mixer. Right. However, it is also the turn of the larger cyst rat, who flexes his shoulders and just gets 3 of the cysts, which all pop, energy flows out, but also just there's seepage down the sides as well. It is grotesque. Conan, I need you to make a... Oh, I need to roll for it. Sorry. Conan, can you make a Constitution saving throw?
Yep.
And Dee Dee,
It's
can
proficient,
you
it's
make
Oh, reroll that.
a Wisdom saving throw?
Okay, so roll your d20. 27.
You're fine. Can you
27 with a star.
can you also make
No.
a Dexterity saving throw?
No, wisdom.
Oh,
is
wisdom. Oh,
plus
sorry. 8.
17. Again, 2 of these beams wash over you. One is sort of purplish, the other is this yellow-grey one again, and both just, what do you got? Like, you're not taking this.
Come on, dirty rat.
8.
You're
I
starting.
swear this is weighted.
You're starting to seize up already. It's not. It's just random. You're starting to seize up already. As you are seizing up, you also feel yourself getting drowsy and fall asleep on the spot.
Come on, Dee Dee. It's no time for a nap.
No, I mean it's sleep, so it just flops
Yeah,
forward.
but I've
No,
gone rigid.
flop. You're falling rigid. You haven't fallen rigid yet. So you're just falling asleep while petrifying. It's brutal.
Man, I've only just arrived.
Sorry, hun, it's a cyst rat.
Stick it as well.
It's a cyst rat, that's what
Took me like for half
happens.
the game. Okay.
No time for sleep.
Dee Dee, it is your turn. Unfortunately, because you're asleep, you can't do anything.
Can she roll to try and wake up?
No, you don't roll to wake up. Someone has to wake you up. Which also means you can't do anything about the petrification effect that is now still affecting you. It's dexterity, which I would argue means that it's something you have to do yourself physically. What would you say, Reese? You're a GM as well.
I would have to agree with you.
There we go. Right, Dee Dee, on your turn, you can't feel anything. You can see that she's slowly starting to calcify. It looks like she's turning to stone, and she's also fast asleep. Good start. Galbert's dead. He's out of the initiative.
Stop
Galbert
telling it.
went down heroically. You could have said. You couldn't have just.
Galbert's dead. He's out of the initiative
Can
order.
I just say, I didn't even pop the cyst.
It's true. Maybe you should talk to him about that when you make your way out of
Just
this.
saying. Popped your cyst all over me. How rude.
I need a minute. Tavia, it's your turn.
Cool.
Things are not going well above great. Do you want to
Yeah, I'm
help out?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to get up into. How far away is Sistrat?
From you? 30 feet.
30 feet. Right, I can't even get to him, even if I was above the grate. I'm gonna parkour my way up above the
Please
grate.
do.
Cool. Acrobatic?
Yeah, you parkoured. Yeah.
Cool.
I have a very simple rule, guys. You tell me what you do, and then I make up the rule that fits it.
That is, I don't know what that one says. That's a 4.
4
but
plus.
I have plus 12, and I'm proficient, so 22.
22. With a beautiful flip on the swing on the rope, you land.
Cool.
You are currently standing near Conan. You could hide behind
I
him.
would like to hide as my cunning action.
Sure. Roll a stealth check.
Just start.
That is a 23.
23. You are hidden behind Conan.
Thanks, buddy. Sorry.
So I have to say
That'll be worth
Conan
it.
because it is
That'll be
indeed a
worth it, I promise.
Conan. There we go. Conan, it is your turn. There is a tiny rogue hiding behind you. There is this horrible thing that has killed one of your party, and the other looks like she's doing badly. Roll an intelligence check.
Dear,
That's
it's
good.
Conan.
Conan is best at.
14.
14. Even Conan knows the best way to wake up a sleeping person is to slap him around the chops.
I
Don't
only get
give
one
him an
action though, don't
excuse.
I?
What?
I only get one action, don't I?
Yes.
I can't try and wake up Dee Dee and then attack the rat.
No.
Unless action surges.
Or you could action surge
Let's do that.
as you hear the voice of Galbert from beyond the grave.
Who's the action surge?
As a fighter, he gets the ability to action surge, means he can take 2 actions on a turn,
I-
once
I-
per day.
I will try and wake up Dee Dee, so what would you like me to... I will go and slap her on the face, which will take great pleasure in
Sure you will.
slap her on the chops.
Absolutely. Make a actually, slap someone around the face who's asleep. I don't think that requires a roll.
No.
You run up to her, use all of your movement to get to her, and baff, you are awake. You are still. You take 1 point of damage
1 point.
because Conan doesn't know how to hold his punch.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's pretty
right
accurate.
now.
You are still affected by this petrification effect, and it looks like it's not going to get any better. But for the point in time, you are awake, so
I can
small
just
favours.
feel being petrified
Yeah, small
now.
favours.
Oh,
Yeah, see that
great.
trick. You also don't get a turn until next one, so we'll see how that goes. Conan, you still have an attack, which means you get 2 attacks with your crossbow or 3 with your sword. However, you are quite a long way away from this thing, so it would probably be your...
If I attack it,
Yes.
are we outside of the range of the cyst popping?
Well, I don't know. Do you? Does Conan?
Because
No, Conan.
No, not a clue.
I'm not so worried about myself, but like Dee Dee's half getting petrified here. So
You also left a halfling crouched behind you that is now crouching in midair going,
It's now not behind you anymore.
that's true.
rabbit in the headlights right now.
I think I'm gonna fire a crossbow.
Do it.
Yeah.
You're doing it a lot of damage. It's not
Yeah.
got a lot of health left.
Let's just go for it. So, do I get to?
Just roll 2 attacks, buddy.
So, 22
That hits.
and 19.
22 and 19. Roll the damage on those for me. Devere, you need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Cool.
And Conan, you need to make a wisdom saving throw.
11 plus 14. So total damage is 25.
25,
And
solid.
what saving throw do you want me to roll?
I need you to
Wisdom.
make a wisdom saving throw.
4. That's not going to be good, is it? That's not. That's.
I had 21.
21, yeah, you're
Yeah.
fine. A beam of green energy washes over you and you are unaffected by it. However, Conan, the same thing that hit her last time hits you, and you too land face first on the ground in front of her, fast asleep.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. The other 2 rats are dead, but this rat is just going to run up to you and just grab you. What it's trying, because it's about the same size as you, what it's basically trying to do is rub its cysts into you.
Cool.
It's basically
Cool,
rubbing them,
cool.
and as it does that, 3 of them just bloop, bloop, bloop as they pop all over you. You're
Cool.
covered in quite disgusting fluid, and beams of energy also strike you.
Cool. Do I not get a? Can I acrobatically get out of the way?
Evasion or something.
I mean, okay. It can be a grapple check if you like. It was just going to be an attack roll.
Nah, I can attack. It's fine.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Oh, I know what they do, but you
Yep.
roll doubles.
Ah. Cool. Can you roll me a wisdom saving throw, and a dexterity saving throw, please?
Cool. Let's do the
Yes.
wisdoms first.
Please.
Cool. So that's a 9.
Cool.
That is a 18.
That's
and then
fine.
Dexterity is, why couldn't that be first wisdom? That is a 27.
27.
And can I also use uncanny dodge?
You can't
So
uncanny
half.
dodge a beam. You could use evasion to take half damage if it did that kind of damage, but it doesn't. These are all effects.
Okay.
So, right, the first one affects you. As it rubs itself all over you, 2 of these effects wash over you and you feel nothing, although the pus is still there. The third...
Covered in water and pus now.
Yeah, you are.
Having a great day.
That apron is ruined.
I'm never going to be able to use this again.
However, the first one that hits you fills you to the core with dread, and you are now afraid of this rat. I mean, you probably already are, but you're now, like, magically afraid.
I'm brave, so wouldn't I have an advantage on saving throws against being frightened?
Roll it again.
Good spot.
Thank you.
And this is wisdom, yeah?
It is wisdom.
Be nicer. That will not
It's
work.
cocked, I'm afraid.
Nope, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just a 9. Casual 9.
It is better. It's not a lot
Tried.
Can you get plus
Right.
Yeah, I rolled a 3.
We'll get to what that means on your turn, if that's all right.
I guess. Sure.
Cool.
Prolong the inevitable.
Prolong the inevitable. Dee Dee, it is your turn.
Sorry, I was asleep then. I'm petrified.
You're not asleep. You're
Oh no,
you're
I'm
woken
just
up.
petrified.
But you are slowly petrifying.
11 plus what? Am I doing anything?
Dexterity.
20.
20.
Okay. You shake off the effect.
Shake it up.
But as you're
Shake it up.
shaking it off, you realise you were milliseconds away from turning literally to stone.
Shake it up. Come on, Taylor. Shake it up.
You can take actions. It is your turn. What would you like to do?
Oh.
Conan is lying asleep on the floor in front of you. Currently gets no actions. Devere looks like she's about to run away.
No, these shenanigans. Well, I feel like I should wake Conan up though because
Go
he did.
stab.
You are a rogue, so you have what's called a cunning action. So you could use a cunning action to shake him awake and then attack.
Okay, can I do that, please?
Absolutely.
So what do I do?
Cunning action is you just do. So
Oh,
you're
I
welcome
just,
to just do
I
it.
would like to. I'd like to slap him really hard around the head.
Cool. You take 1 point of damage, and you are awake. Good. That's dealt with. You can now
That's
roll.
the only way to wake someone up, right?
Sure. You can now roll for damage. I'm afraid because you're not hidden, you don't get sneak attack, which makes you do a lot more damage. So just roll a normal attack roll with your bow.
So with my short bow.
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you some
Well,
advice,
rapier
which
or
is
short bow?
unfair of me. It is currently in combat with her. That means that if you run up and stab, it means if you run up and stab it. No, you can use your short bow.
You can use short bow,
What,
sneak
however
attack,
you attack it, you will get sneak attack damage.
which means you get an extra 8d6 damage.
He can run you through it.
Yeah, okay, so make your attack roll.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're about to
12.
Excellent. So that's a 24.
24.
I think I am.
It's only one hit, so
Oh, right.
24.
you absolutely hit it. Now roll for all that damage.
Okay, you have your sneak attack, which means you do that for the damage.
While she's
of
dealing
the
with the
weapon,
amount that's dealing with
and
there,
your sneak
Yeah.
attack at
Devere,
this level
you are now
is-
frightened.
Cool.
You can't move closer to the creature,
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna get
and you have
8d6.
disadvantage on ability checks and
Roll
attack
that.
rolls
Roll this.
while you can see it.
4 add 7 is
Okay,
11.
shut my eyes.
So that's 11.
That's a good.
Plus
I'm just gonna jump.
You have blind sense, don't you, as a high-level rogue?
Yeah.
It's within 10 feet of you. You can see with your eyes
Oh my
closed,
God,
and
I've
that
gotta add all
negates
this
the
up.
fear
I'll help
effect.
you.
How very
11.
intelligent.
11, roll it.
I know, that's very clever, isn't it?
That was
Whoa, we're
I'm very
losing
impressed by
dice.
this.
Where did it go? Where did it go?
It's a panto!
Cool.
Yeah, roll it
Okay,
again.
so your eyes are closed,
My eyes are closed, but
and
I'm
arrow's
like,
about to hit it in
8.
somewhere.
Yeah,
And we have to see what happens there
12.
because the beam is going to hit you. You are so
cool.
close to it.
That's
18.
fine.
And then we'll see what happens. But
24.
yes, you have
With my
negated
eyes
the fear
closed, am I
effect.
gonna have
30,
disadvantage
36,
on-
No, because you have blind sight.
38 plus 11 is
So,
49 points of damage.
49 points of damage. Have I killed it? Did I kill it? Did I kill it? Oh.
49 points of damage. An arrow launches out of nowhere and just hits it in the side. And
Thank you for your help. I got you. Got you back.
right, I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
I'm not good at those ones.
I know.
Be a good dice, don't.
Let's just keep them there for the moment in case you get another
7.
sneak attack.
It's a 7.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No, but this one
12,
rolled me in that one.
8, 16, 18. you have evasion because you're a rogue,
Yeah.
and you failed the roll, so you
No,
only.
but that's only for that allows me to make a dexterity saving throw. To
Oh, it's
determine
dexterity. Never mind.
Yeah.
18, 7, 4, 11, 29. 9 again is 38. 38.
Yeah,
You
but
take.
I've got uncanny dodge, so I
You can't uncanny dodge a beam. You take 38 points of damage as this arrow lances out, doing a lot of damage to this cyst rat. I think it probably popped a cyst and probably part of its head as well. So this pus is now
Mine is
flowing over its
36, yeah.
entire face, and it's looking pretty awful. As a purplish energy flows out and beams into you, and you take a lot of damage from that.
Cool.
So it's looking pretty awful, guys. It's not going to last much longer, but you are still about to be affected by it if you don't be careful about it. Blah. Words. Aren't. Thank you. Don't be careful. I good grief. Conan, you are awake. You are 30 feet away from it. You've used your action surge today, but you could hit it 3 times if you run up and just smash it to death.
I think I need to do that right now, don't I? I think I just need to not be from a distance, just get stuck in. So I will run up to it
Use your sword.
and use my long sword.
Use your long sword.
Chop its head off.
And have 3 attacks in it.
3 attacks with your long sword, Conan. Hit it hard.
15.
Does not hit. The first one bounces off. It also doesn't mean there's no effect, so that's good.
23.
That absolutely hits it. Roll the third one.
Oh, that's good. 30.
2 hits. The first one doesn't quite get there, but the other 2 stab, trying to kill it, doing the best you can. Roll the damage on those 2 while I see what
1d8
beams
plus
affect you and
times
Devere,
2.
because you're the 2 closest.
So just-
2d8 plus 7 each time.
Yeah.
So 6 plus 7 is 13.
13.
And 10, so 23.
23 points of damage. Thank you. You need to both make dexterity saving throws.
13 plus 2, 15.
15.
20 something. 23.
23 points of damage. Sorry, 23 on the saving throw. Oh, losing my brain. I'm so sorry. Give me a second. Right. A beam washes over you. No effect.
Cool.
A beam washes over you. And again, you feel yourself starting to tighten up. It's almost as if you're about to be turned to stone. You have 2 more chances to free yourself from this, so not yet on your turns. So for now, it's not too bad, but it could be so much worse if things go badly for you over the next 2 turns. It is now the rat's turn. It is looking, the 2 of you are very nearby it. It is just looking around frantically. It realizes it's not doing very well. You're still here. Nothing's ever survived this long with it, clearly. It just starts patting itself down all over, and 3 of these things pop, and all 3 of you will get 1 effect. Right. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, Devere. I need you to make a... Oh dear. A Dexterity saving throw, DD. And I need you to make a... Dexterity saving throw again.
12.
12.
23.
23. Something washes over you. It grasps at your soul briefly, but it's gone. It didn't affect you. 17. Again, it washes over you, but again, no effect. Come on. 12.
It was a good 12.
It was a good 12.
It was a high 12.
It's a high 12, was it? It was a high 12. Excellent.
12's go, it wasn't bad.
Well, I'm calling it. You're already starting to be petrified. This was doing the same thing again. You are now petrified.
No.
You have been turned to stone, Conan, in mid-strike. You are standing there, a statue. At this point in time, there's not a lot you guys can do about that. 2 roads. Conan is down. Dee Dee,
Down to us then.
Yeah.
So, I'm still quite far away, aren't I?
you are still.
But
You
my-
could use your. You could get
Well,
up.
It's still flanked technically. So
It's still flanked by you. You
technically-
both get sneak attack damage on it because if you use your bow, it'll get sneak attack damage. You won't at this point in time, but she will.
But that's kind of where I was going with it.
Make
that
a
I
sneak
was gonna
attack
do the
roll.
same again.
Go for it. You've got 1 more strike with your short bow. Make it count.
20.
Critical success.
Did I do it? Did I
A
do
20
it?
on a
Let's
20-sided
roll some
dice in this game
serious
counts as
damage.
doubling the
So-
damage.
Roll this twice.
I'm going to see what it does to you
Three.
while it
Last
dies.
time I did a double.
5 plus 7 is
I
12.
did a crit with a sneak attack. I did 86
So
points of
that's
damage.
12.
So that's what we're hoping for.
Thank you.
Twelve.
Kill it.
Roll these for me.
My best, guys.
I get to do one more save.
Oh,
and
for
then
goodness
leave.
Yes, you are.
It's alright.
But
Roll.
Make a dexterity
Roll it
saving
again.
throw.
Oh, thanks for being nice.
3,
No, it's
6,
what I roll.
7,
Thanks, dice, for being
8.
nice.
16,
20. None.
18.
A yellowy
20,
grey beam will serve you and has
23.
no effect on you.
Roll it again.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
Okay, so
As an arrow pierces it and presumably
6,
does something awful. We'll get that.
8, 11,
Give us a minute.
17, 18, 23, 26. So that's 11 carry the 1, 30, 50, 60, 61 points of piercing damage.
How does your arrow destroy this beastie? How would you like your arrow to kill this beastie? Where does it hit
I
it?
would like it to hit square between the eyes. It pops a cyst all over itself and petrifies itself.
Yes!
Wicked. I'm taking it. Right. An arrow lances out and hits it square between the eyes where there is one of these yellowy cysts, and it just pops. And for some reason, the energy doesn't go out, it goes in. And suddenly this rat just freezes in mid-death sequence animation, let's say, and rolls onto its back. Tunk. Tunk. Destroyed and out for the count.
And then breaks into all tiny particles.
I think someone needs to hit it for that to happen.
Oh, let's push it in
It
the hole.
fell. It
Push it in
fell,
the
so
hole.
it broke into
Let's
pieces.
push it in the hole.
You're right there, Devere. What would you want to do?
I want to
Push it in the hole!
You are how big?
I'll help you.
Assist.
Roll an athletics check. Both of you will do it as a shared roll. That's probably more fun.
13.
13.
Plus your
Plus
athletics, which does 0.
17.
17.
13.
With the two of you between you, you pushing, you pulling, drag this completely stone thing, the same size as the two of you, over to the grate, push it in the hole. The hole was able to be wiggled through, so you have to give it a bit of a to get it through, but with a 17, this stone thing falls down and just shatters to pieces in the grinding thing beneath. It is defeated.
A very dead giant.
I knew we'd be good
GG,
friends.
the monster
You said it.
However,
Oh no.
Galbert's emaciated corpse is lying on the floor, and Conan, brave Conan, is frozen in a very undignified pose.
At least he's not squatting this time.
Small favours, eh? Small favours. What would you like to do? Two of your party have been...
Well, we can we unpetrify Conan?
You can indeed. The petrification is not a permanent. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily permanent. If either of you know how to cast any magic,
No.
No. Oh, use magic device. You can.
No.
Oh, no. No. I just saw the word magic and was like, no, something. No.
fascinating.
So can we take them back to the ship somehow?
You assume that they will be teleported out, as all things would be at this point.
Everything's easy.
So a statue and a corpse will indeed probably teleport out in the next...
Do you want to go for a beer?
I mean, yeah. But before that, I'd like to go over to the corpse of our dearly departed monk.
And loot it.
No, I just want to.
Check his pockets.
What's happened to? Is he now ash effectively?
You know, I don't like to reference other televisual media, but you know the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
Okay,
where
cool.
he drinks from the wrong... He chose
Okay,
poorly.
yeah.
He hasn't quite blown into pieces and been scattered to the wall, but he is an emaciated corpse. He was literally had his entire life force
like
Okay.
and his
bone.
chi and all his energy
Okay.
sucked out of him into this...
I'd like to collect
The pieces.
the pieces.
He's not really in pieces. He's more
Oh,
just an
okay.
emaciated corpse.
He's just.
I want to
like
straighten
skin.
his pinny and make sure that his pinny's on nice and
Oh,
presentable
that's
for when he goes back to the
dignity,
ship.
Really sad.
Oh.
In what position is Conan?
What position is
I think
Conan in?
I was in mid of attack, wasn't I? So it's probably like...
Mid-attack.
Well, we can't.
It's
we
quite a
can't
hit-
pick
That's
him
not
up.
quite-
It's quite a heroic pose.
Quite a
It would look
heroic pose.
really good on
Yeah.
in like a hall or something.
Can I take him home to be like I can dress
Right,
him
we're
up in
gonna
armour?
stick a note on him.
Thank you.
Okay, write a note. Stick a note on him saying, "Being petrified, magic help."
Yes,
And
yes.
hope that he gets teleported
That's a great idea.
onto the ship. So when he
You
gets
know-
back to the ship,
I mean,
they're like,
you
And
know
then
there
I
are
don't know
clerics
about-
on board ship
yeah.
that can deal with
I think I'm
petrification.
okay, but I think you could do with a shower. So
yeah, I
let's
really
go
do
and find
with
a
like.
shower.
You are
maybe
currently...
a short rest.
I
get
mean,
some hit
you are
points.
currently in a 50-foot circular room.
So probably get out
This
of it.
grate's in the middle. You guys haven't looked to see if there's ways out of here yet, but it appears relatively quiet.
Find a way out.
Yeah, I think I might need to rest up a little. Just get some can I get some hit dice back? Can I do that on a short rest?
You could absolutely... A short rest in game terms means that you sit for roughly an hour and take a breather, take a chance to heal yourself up a little
Wouldn't
bit.
you rather rest somewhere that wasn't a sewer?
Yeah, but we don't know what's up there, and all we've got below us is a grinder. So
Okay.
let's
All right, have a rest.
Right
All
about
right,
it.
I'll wait for you.
Cool. So yeah, can I do
You
like
did save my life, so
a
if
few
you
hit
can wait.
dice, maybe like 4?
You can do as
Wait
many
an
as you
hour.
like.
Cool. Let's have a look.
I would start rolling them until you're up to full health, and then make that what you do. That's
Cool.
totally fine.
I need to do some maths. I'm
Right.
terrible at maths.
While she's healing up a bit, what are you getting up to,
Do I
Dee
add
Dee?
anything?
You having an
Can I peek
explore?
out the door?
Having
Can
explore.
I go and have a peek? Like, I'm not leaving you
No,
completely.
that's fine. Can I just check? Do
But
I
I'll
add
have a
anything to my
peek.
hit dice, or is it just a?
Your Constitution.
Constitution modifier, okay, so
Constitution
+1 on the
Because
roll.
we have only got like 3 minutes.
Make a
left, so I would
perception
like to
check.
peek.
Sure.
What do I do with that?
Roll it and add your perception modifier.
15.
Perception, so 16.
16.
16. You get a look around this room. It's dark. You can't see in the dark. Some races can. Halflings can't.
No.
As you look around this room, you see that it looks like a sort of cistern, a general midpoint. Like at some points this would be filled and then drained through the bottom. At this point, thank heavens, it's not. So it appears to have not taken huge amounts of liquid for quite some time. It appears to be one that is an overflow, if anything else.
Oh.
To either side, east and west, are tunnels that lead upward. They look like they're tunnels for water. So it looks like this is somewhere things would congregate and then be drained downwards. But at the moment, you can hear up these things. There's no noise anywhere. There's obviously no water flow either. It appears this whole system is an overflow system. So you are, if anything, above the actual sewer works. They're starting to get into more of these sewer maintenance works, which might be a bit more habitable and traversable.
And there's no other beings in there then?
No, it is completely abandoned. If anything, it's a bit cobwebby and a bit dusty.
So it might be like nicer to rest down there.
Yeah. Well, I've healed back.
Are
up
you
to
all right
full
now?
health.
Yeah.
Those are full.
Yeah.
Excellent. So
7 hit dice.
you have taken an hour and you have gone through this. Would anyone like to maybe say some passing words for the two brave warriors?
Thanks.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
Leave it to the girls. We've got this.
And on that empowered ending, I think we should end this hour Adventurers Wanted. Thank you so much, guys. Mr. Lord, thank you so much. I'm sorry that you're dead.
No.
I'll hand over to Naomi to see us
I've
out.
got the character now.
Yeah. Well, Reese is going now anyway. All right.
I'm out.
Right. Thank you for joining us for the 208. I don't know what I'm saying.
280. We're not going over 250. Don't do this to me.
Let's go back to work. I need to teach people. 228 hour of Adventures Wanted 3. Just a few things. Please make sure to come back if you want to come back. We are here today, tomorrow, and Monday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can come and play. Things like you can do for £5 from the Speak Learning News website or from the box office or player tickets at normal places. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Usually we're Adventures Wanted on most things except for Twitter where we're at Adventures250 where we are live tweeting and we are streaming at twitch.tv/Adventures Wanted. People have things to plug.
Oh, hello.
Dee, do you have a show to plug as well?
Do
Do you have a show to plug?
The show at the Fringe. I'm the world's only motivational mentalist. So the show is Momentum, a motivational and mind reading experience. Final show tomorrow, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Excellent.
Award-nominated show and lots of fun. And it's all about uplifting and empowering yourself and achieving your goals in life. So please come along.
He did a trick with me earlier. It was well good.
And that's just because that's at the McDonald's Holyrood because all the best things are happening here.
Yeah. Sweet venues.
Can you have a round of applause for our players and our team? And if you used the door you came in through, thank you very much. We hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Bye, stream. See you in 10.
Galbert Twinkle Toes. The
Have we got
halfling
time
monk.
for a picture?
Yeah, of course.
Put the phone in